Murray, how's it going?
It's pretty good. How about
Oh,
you, Josh?
pretty good.
Yeah. Good.
I had a rough couple of weeks, as you know.
Yep.
Had some staffing issues, was stuck in bed
Bummer.
for a little while, but
Yeah.
things are worked out. And yeah,
Glad to hear that. I hate seeing you in bed for a week. That's got to be
it's
horrible.
very frustrating.
Yeah.
Very.
Yeah. You can only watch so much Star Trek.
Yeah, that's a topic for another day. But you and I, we're gonna do these videos, but for the next month or so, you're gonna be away.
I am.
So we're not gonna be side by side.
No.
We might have to do it over video.
Yeah. My connection
We'll
works
see if that
isn't great.
works. Yeah.
We'll see. Give it a shot.
So we might have to start resaving the world in September.
I hope it can wait.
But you're used to doing that,
What?
saving the world in September, right? Because
Or surviving September, it might be better.
maybe.
Yeah.
How long were you an educator?
Oh, 30 years, say, somewhere around 30 years.
That's very impressive.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so today we're going to save the world by recycling, or maybe not.
You would
Uh,
save it by not recycling?
maybe
Oh, okay.
we're going to figure it out by the end of our video.
All right.
Hopefully. Do we actually ever figure anything out?
Well, good questions are maybe better than bad answers. So,
I like that one.
yeah.
I just want to start out the video, guys. Reminding you to, if you like this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell because you'll know when we go live. You can watch live, join the discussion, or just watch it at another time.
Sure.
But we're going to be here hopefully most Wednesdays after 2 p.m. sometime. All right. Thanks.
Hey, I like your new hat, by the way.
Thank you. I actually had this one made up.
Really?
Yeah, because there's not a lot of hats that come in my size.
Yeah. We went
And
through that last
I
time.
bought a blank one. And now embroidery companies are not allowed to put copyright logos onto things unless you own the copyright.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't own the copyright of the Blue Jays,
Yeah.
but I found this guy who did it for me anyway.
So it's a hot hat,
Yeah,
illegal.
yeah.
Should make it worth more money.
Or nothing because you can't sell it.
Uh,
I don't know.
there's always collectors out there that want things that are
Well,
limited production, just
I've
one of a
thought
kind.
I've thought about making. There are actually fans out there that make like fan like merchandise of teams, but they don't use the official logos and things like that, and then they sell that.
Yeah.
So instead of like a T-shirt that has the Blue Jay logo on it, it might show like the Sky Dome and the CN Tower and say like Toronto baseball. Or are you aware that kids nowadays they refer to areas by the phone code, area phone code like 416?
Yeah. 905.
Yeah, so stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they'll call it like six baseball because sometimes they even just go by the last number
Oh, really?
instead of the 416. They'll be like, yeah.
Wow.
So there's a lot of companies in Toronto using like the six.
Never heard of that.
Yeah, they call
Yeah.
themselves the six.
Yeah. Well, my hat is an advertisement for something as well.
Is it the same as last time?
Did we talk about it last time?
I think we did.
Oh, okay. It's
What's it?
advertising Burning, Alberta. I have friends
Yeah, you
there,
mentioned that.
mountain bike and ski there.
Speaking of biking, who won the Tour de France? So,
Postcard.
it's a kid, right?
Yeah, like 22, second time in a row.
You don't seem happy about this?
No, I'm overwhelmed. I'm awed by his
Oh.
performance. Like I just went, "Phew, how can a guy at 22 win the tour?"
Is he doing the Lance Armstrong? Is he doing the
Well,
EPO blood doping and just getting away with it?
well, they do a ton of testing and they've upgraded it since the fiasco around Armstrong. So I'm hoping
You're hoping he's
hoping everybody's clean, but who knows? There's a lot of money at stake, a lot of fame. But the kid looks like he can bike. He came third in the Olympics behind Wout van Aert and Carapaz. Carapaz was third in the
third in the Tour de France. Okay, cool.
Yeah. For those of you that don't like biking, that's all meaningless to you. But for those of us that love biking,
There's some people out there that don't like biking.
it's a great tour. Yeah.
I don't like it particularly, but
You have to.
you know, I talk baseball to you, so
Yeah, I play a lot of baseball, but don't like watching it really. Too slow. A lot of great Olympic stuff on.
yeah, Olympics are on.
Maybe we should have been talking about
Go
that.
Canada. We should.
Yeah, they already have 9 medals at least.
Oh, we can watch once. We'll talk about it once it's over.
Yeah.
We'll do a rundown, a recap, whatever.
Yeah.
All right. So
Let's watch. Duty politics.
that's a sponsor of the video.
Oh,
This video was brought to you by Loony Politics. So when I was a kid, there was no such thing as global warming. Well, I mean,
this guy's still a kid. What's he talking about?
No, he's like close to 40. He's very close to 40.
No way. Look at him. He's got
I don't look
multicolored hair and a plaid hoodie.
well. He's you know, sometimes the gentlemen who prefer other gentlemen wear more colorful clothing, do their hair more.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he's out. He's out for sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well,
So he's
I
more
didn't know
like,
that.
yeah,
That's not why I reacted. I just think he looks like a kid. He's talking to me like
but he's got gray hair
he's got blondish hair.
on the sides. Look, it's gray.
Those are highlights, Josh.
Oh, on the sides, it's gray for sure.
This guy's near 40.
Okay, he and I are both near 40, but look younger.
Oh, he does.
Okay, I don't
Anyways,
know.
anyways, just to start off, why in heaven's name would I want to listen to this guy? What credentials does he have to be any authority on anything? I
Actually,
don't know.
he's actually an accredited and award-winning journalist.
Oh, wow.
He's worked for the Washington Post, among other things. And yeah, he's
Okay. Like
he's-
I
he's
asked
a-
a question, so
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know because you often ask that question.
Yeah.
I
Well-
wanted someone with credentials today,
oh yeah.
and he's a smart guy.
Okay.
Shall we keep watching?
Sounds good, but it's the question. I mean, the internet is full
Yeah.
of so much garbage that you always have to start by asking, why should I listen to this guy? And
Well, and anytime
to
you see
figure
a
out.
video, anytime you see
Yeah.
a video with something is a scam, you take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shall we keep watching?
sure,
I guess there was, but it wasn't the thing that we were taught to care about when we talked about the environment. No, when I was in school, what
seriously?
Yeah, and actually, that's how he naturally says it.
That's Canadian.
That's Canadian, but I think it's more Western Canadians, especially. and he's in BC, but that's the way he said it.
Really?
He's not playing up his accent or anything.
Really? Ah,
That's the way he says it.
okay.
What they were really pushing was recycling, which was really presented as the one big idea that was going to save the world. I can remember this one video that my second grade teacher made us watch in particular. It was called Recycle Rex.
Do you remember your second grade teacher?
Yes, I do. Kind of.
I do too, Miss Watson.
I had mismet us, I think.
Wow.
It was about some colorful dinosaur friends, and they wanted to play in the park, but they couldn't because it was full of garbage. And after being guilted into realizing that the garbage was their own fault, they took all of their trash to this magical factory and learned about the miracle of recycling. With
Terrible
recycling,
children.
you just stuff your trash into a machine and it turns into something brand new. Amazing. As a kid, this was very much my dominant understanding of recycling. And truth be told, even among a lot of adults, I think this is still kind of their unconscious assumption of how it works. We put all of our old plastic and paper and aluminium into one of these big blue recycling containers, and bingo bango, some magical factory somewhere converts all of this stuff into like new paper towels or whatever. Now, it may shock you to learn that this is not how recycling works in real life.
I, for one, am shocked. Are you shocked? I'm not really shocked because I'm.
No.
But I mean, there was a time when I was younger when I thought like, paper could be like recycled countless times.
Yeah.
Like you just always recycle paper.
In real life, recycling is actually a monstrous boondoggle of inefficiency and geopolitical turmoil that has pushed my country to the brink of war with
His country being Canada. Now, this was filmed in 2019, and he's obviously being hyperbolic.
the Philippines. Let me explain. So the one thing that the standard recycling fairy tale gets right is that factories are indeed involved, but critically, not every step of the recycling process takes place in the same factory or even the same country. After you put your junk in the box, before anyone can do anything else with it, it needs to be sorted. This is because most of us really have no clue whatsoever as to what it is we are doing when we recycle, relying only on vague folk wisdom and sort of
Is there anybody though that believes a banana peel is recycling?
It's compost, right?
Yeah, it's compost, but it's not recycling.
Yes, yeah, that's a no-brainer to me, but
Yeah,
I mean, we've actually spent some time trying to figure it all out. So our blue boxes or green boxes or compost are actually that. I did do a class with a bunch of kids at Sunday school once. I took my composting box there.
uh-huh.
We're going to talk about taking care of the earth. And so I dumped the whole thing on a plastic garbage bag and said to the kids, okay, so I went, oh, what's wrong with this? And one kid right away knew exactly what was wrong. What was wrong was
There was something that shouldn't be there.
my wife had thrown out a cucumber that was still in the plastic. And that kid was incensed that we would do that. So
Really?
was I, because I wouldn't do that. That was my wife.
Oh,
But the kid knew right off that should not be in there. You can
hopefully
leave
she
the
doesn't see
cucumber,
this.
Take the plastic off. Well, I'm not taking the plastic off. It's not the cucumber.
half remembered things we were taught in elementary school. Those in the know sometimes call this phenomenon wish cycling, which is when people ignorantly assume that all sorts of random nonsense is recyclable for some reason. It has been estimated that as much as 40% of what we recycle is actually just unreusable trash. Anyway, because we are so incompetent, at your local recycling plant, which is usually run by the city or county, they have to employ all these people to go through it all and pick the legitimately recyclable materials from the worthless crap. And since the people who sort the garbage all day are government...
I've seen that kind of picture before and how fast the stuff goes by.
Yeah.
And a lot of the recyclables that don't get recycled seems to be the result of them not being able to pick it up fast enough. So it just goes through and. goes
Well, that's
right-
just another
Yeah.
step of inefficiency.
Right, so slow it down. And why don't we just hire more people? We've got budget for that.
Oh, yeah.
Hamilton has a huge recycle.
Our government has endless coffers of cash.
Sure. So.
Government
You're right.
employees and thus members of powerful public sector unions, their labor is very expensive. They use garbage sorting machines as well, but those are very expensive too. But no worry, the next part of the system helps keep everything very affordable to taxpayers, at least in theory. Now, city governments are obviously not in the business of making paper towels or whatever. So after all of the good garbage is separated from the bad, the city gathers up all of the reusable materials and sells it to factories that actually make things. And what do we all know about factories that make things? Correct. They are all in Asia. As a result, for many decades now, we have been sending the bulk of our recyclable materials to Asia on the assumption that their factories will be able to do something with the stuff. This was a dangerous mistake. It turns out that you can't actually make anything useful out of a hardware store flyer smeared with mustard or a half-empty can.
Murray,
But
you told me you were guilty of putting used paper towels in the recycling.
oh, sorry, in the compost.
Oh, in the
I meant
compost.
compost, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I put them in compost. Yeah, we don't.
Okay, well,
put
that's
any
different.
towels in. So, yeah,
so are you follow the rules, you think, pretty well? For
Pretty well.
for recycling in particular?
yeah. I think a few pop cans get into our regular garbage because I'm
Yeah.
too lazy to.
But
throw
you're
it
not
in.
putting garbage in the recycling.
No. So we got,
What about pizza boxes?
yeah, you know what? We do put those in. I didn't. know
Yeah,
that's what
they
I'm
gotta
talking
be
about.
unsoiled.
How do you do that with a pizza?
They gotta come lined with this thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Are
some
they?
places do
Oh,
wax paper.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I
Very few. I don't know who does.
honestly assumed that pizza boxes were legit, but a lot of cardboard there.
Yeah, I think if you rip it apart
Yeah,
and maybe put the unsoiled stuff, maybe.
yeah,
But yeah.
it's a lot of work.
And then some areas have different recycling.
Yeah.
Like here in our town, we cannot do styrofoam.
Right.
But
Found that by
but
accident.
in our neighboring city of Guelph, they can do styrofoam. So
Oh, really?
yeah, you have to call and again, only certain types, I think. So you really got to know. You got to call your own municipal,
Yeah.
Recycling czar, whoever's in charge.
Yeah.
Can of marshmallow.
We thought we'd check on styrofoam, and we thought the answer was yes.
Mhm.
And then when the guys came around to pick it up,
They told you not.
well, they just left the styrofoam. So we thought, well, I think the message is don't put
Right.
styrofoam in here. So we put it in regular garbage.
Well, I think they've lied to us too.
They what?
They've lied to us before.
Who, our city?
Yeah, and in fact, like there was a while in Guelph actually where they were still recycling, like picking up the recycling, asking people to recycle. And then once it got to the landfill, it was all being combined. They weren't recycling.
God.
For a period of time, yeah, because
Yeah.
they didn't have the program running. So,
Yeah.
and they didn't want people to stop recycling.
Yeah.
So they just kept it going.
Yeah. It's
I kind of see the relative merits in that, but
yeah, the landfill stuff is really interesting. We mountain bike at the Hydro Cut, which is right beside the dump. So you get to see the work they're doing on how they prepare the great big pits for garbage. And they actually dig them really deep, and then they align them with some sort of black, I don't know if it's fabric or plastic, I couldn't tell, but the amount of work that goes into taking care of our garbage here in Kitchener Waterloo. It's pretty staggering.
It's amazing how much time we put into it.
Yeah,
Full of
and every
fluff.
now and then riding on the hydrocut stinks.
I
The
can
wind blowing
imagine.
The wrong way.
Yeah.
But
In a lot of cases, it is simply faster and cheaper for factories to just make new objects from scratch rather than go through all of the time and hassle of reprocessing these low-grade, filthy materials. In the end, a lot of Asian countries just wind up quietly burning the majority of the so-called recyclables we send them, or just sticking them in their own landfills. Only a very, very small minority of the stuff winds up being used to make legitimate new products. According to the journal Science Advances, for instance, out of all of the plastic stuff that has been made since 1950, only 9% was used to make something new after it was thrown away. Now, over the course of the decades, many of the Asian countries began to feel that they were getting the raw end of this particular deal. We in the West got to feel all righteous about saving the world with our beautiful blue boxes, while the Asians got to paw through our garbage like some starved hobo, seeing if there was anything useful in there that they could use to make new products for us. So
Just a little bit. I want to see, like, I don't know, it's not white privilege, it's not racism, but is it a little bit like weird or hinky that, like, us mostly white people here in North America are sending our garbage over to Asia to let them deal with it?
do we make them take it?
Well, I don't know, but there are still agreements that are like no
Yeah.
one pays a child in
Yeah.
a work camp. The child that works in it, making your Nike whatever,
Yeah.
they're agreeing to be there, but it's still an unfair working relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we need to re-examine kind of the power dynamic.
Really?
I think we should. I think how many North Americans would go through, garbage for nickels a day?
Yeah. But don't we send?
Like he said, the people that do it here in North America are unionized people who are making great wages.
Don't we send transport fulls of garbage across the border into Michigan?
Yeah, I think we do.
So we,
That's just going straight into the ground, though, I think.
yeah, I think so too. I'm actually surprised we must be paying a lot for that.
I think we're paying through the nose. Yeah.
Yeah. It's all the garbage that comes from Toronto, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see you can tell the transports when they go down the highway.
Yeah.
They look pretty beat up and
Yeah.
not your normal transport. You're looking at a garbage transport.
There's just something about the relationship that makes me feel or not even, it's not race, but class, right? Like Canada's a first class country, and poor Asian countries are, of a different socioeconomic status. I don't know. Something makes me uncomfortable about it.
For sure
in
there's
recent
no
years, the
economic
Asian countries have got
Sure, there's no economic benefit.
I'm sure there is, but just like the child in the sweatshop, it's good that he gets his nickel a day, but shouldn't we give him, a real living wage in this country? I think we should.
Yeah,
I don't know. It just makes me. I think it should be re-examined. That's all I'm saying.
but you wouldn't want to make a decision based on what we think is just when you go to a country and say, you know what, we're not going to do this to you anymore. This is totally inappropriate.
No,
for
I agreed.
a rich nation, and the person on the other end says,
I needed
You
that
just-
nickel. Yeah,
you just took my job from me.
yeah,
Like it, and yeah, I mean, it's either,
I agree. It should be totally re-examined.
yeah,
Don't make any rash decisions, but yeah,
extremely picky about what kind of junk they're willing to buy from us. The Chinese, for instance, introduced this rather grandly named policy in 2017 known as the National Sword Initiative that more or less ended their imports of garbage from the West. And since so much of the world's stuff is made in Chinese factories, this did enormous damage to the Western recycling industry. At first, the hope was that we could just shift our sales to other Asian countries. But no, they have all followed the Chinese lead and are closing their doors to us as well, which brings us to the case of Canada and the Philippines. Even though we Canadians like to pretend that we are a nation of goody-goody tree huggers who love
That brings back memories.
Of what?
You don't know that video, the log rider? Oh, the log rider. I'm not gonna say. I was about to say.
I go way back.
Yeah, but this is from like the 70s
Yeah.
and 80s. I'll play it for you afterwards.
Okay.
love our beautiful pine forests and photogenic lakes. In reality, we are the worst garbage producing nation on Earth per capita. A 2013 study by the Conference Board of Canada said that the average
Does that surprise you that the United States is better at that than us?
Well, it's 2013. Yeah. Yeah, it does surprise me. I mean, per capita is an interesting way.
Well, you'd have to look at it that way.
Yeah, I guess you do. Maybe I'm just used to what Canadians produce. When I am a little overwhelmed sometimes the amount of garbage that goes out on Tuesday mornings around our place. You know, it's pretty staggering. But, yeah, and even from my own house. So I'm not innocent here.
Canadian produces 4.5 pounds of garbage a day, which kind of checks out. I mean, this is all of the garbage that I've just made this morning. Anywho, in addition to China, Canada has shipped a lot of its quote unquote recyclables to the Philippines over the years. But the Philippines is currently run by a loudmouth hothead, and there was no way that he was going to allow a good populist issue like Canada making his country their personal garbage dump go to waste. The Filipino government has been demagoguing for a while now about this shipment of garbage we sent them a few years ago that was supposed to be good recyclable stuff, but it sounds like was actually mostly adult diapers and banana peels. This is a symptom of another problem with the Western recycling system, which is the high degree of contamination, not just in terms of how dirty everything is, but how much legit trash makes it through our not quite vigorous enough sorting system. So the Filipinos had been demanding that we take all of the garbage back, with all of the trademark rhetorical restraint that President Duterte is known for. He recalled all of the Filipino diplomats from Canada and even threatened war.
I'll give a warning to Canada maybe next week that they better pull that thing out or I will set sail. We'll declare war against them. Kaya ba natin yan sila?
Part of this was just the president being himself, of course.
I don't know if the Philippines is that bad, but
The guy's a thug.
is he that bad?
Trump loves him. What does that say? Okay, that was probably something you don't agree with, but
No,
he loves Putin, he loves Duterte, he loves Erdogan. Give me a break. These guys are thugs.
Duarte he's not Kim Jong-il or
Yeah.
he's not that bad.
Yeah, I guess when you get past a certain line.
Is he? No.
He's known for killing a lot of people.
Is he? Okay.
I think he says that they're all
I didn't know that, but
criminals, but I guess the question is he a criminal? I've read enough to not be impressed
right,
with a lot
right.
of what he does. So I may be a little misinformed here, but those are my feelings from what I've read.
I'm not overly informed on the Philippines.
Yeah.
I actually have a friend from the Philippines, but we haven't talked a lot over the last pandemic, so it'd be interesting to get that person's thought on
He had already decided that he hated Canada several years earlier for reasons I don't even think made sense at that time. But in the end, Canada did agree to take this particular garbage shipment back, at which point the cargo had to be reclassified from useful Canadian recyclables to dangerous foreign trash, which was then burned when it got back to Canada in a nice illustration of just what a hypocritical mess this whole situation has become.
Also, we're shipping it across the ocean twice and then burning it. How have we helped the environment here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Can you put enough garbage on a ship to sell it to another country halfway around the world and still make any money? Like,
I don't
like,
know.
doesn't sound.
Some of these ships are pretty big, though.
Or are we taking a loss to send it to them? Just seems like.
to summarize, because
Yeah.
of changing attitudes in Asia, the entire Western system of recycling is starting to fall apart faster than a cardboard pizza box, which, by the way, you are not allowed to recycle either. Sorting our recyclables is costing our cities a fortune, and increasingly there is very little way for the government to recoup the costs or even get rid of the stuff. As we all know from studying supply and demand, when you cannot sell something, the value of that thing inevitably declines, and that is what is happening right now with recyclables. Because market demand from Asia is so low, market value for secondhand paper or plastic or aluminium is also hitting record lows, making it extremely expensive for governments to keep doing all this. It has gotten so bad that some cities in North America are even canceling their recycling programs altogether. Some are even cutting pro-recycling propaganda from school curriculums. Oh no! Is there any way out of this death spiral? You know, as I get older, I find myself getting increasingly nostalgic for the environmentalism of the past. Not the pro-recycling stuff, obviously, which I think we can all agree was a bit of a disaster in retrospect, but the remaining two of the so-called 3 R's, reducing and reusing. When I was a kid, we were...
So, I want to know what you remember about teaching kids, really at any point, about the environment, about reduce, reuse, recycle, and whether you thought it was something the school board should be doing, or whether you think it's something that parents should do. I just want to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, I think there are a number of things that parents should do, and not school. The schools have taken on the responsibility for social change, probably above and beyond what they should have. The whole recycling, reduce, reuse, recycle. In my mind, as a high school person, I saw that as, those cartoons things were elementary, but you can't teach a geography course or maybe even a history course or even science courses without at some point talking about what's happening in the world and what the implications are.
Right.
So, and I think you need to remember that a lot of the teachers are teaching right now, and even some of the teachers that were there when I was there, which was like 16 years ago. Yes, I am that old. Were the product of a system that was teaching that. And
Right.
so even if you weren't teaching science or geography or history, one of the subjects where it might normally come up, it was part of your education. And so it was very easy to interact with it because that's what you've been taught. So, I think that one is one that probably the school couldn't avoid dealing with.
Right.
The others that I'm talking about are the school could have avoided not taking responsibility for them, but
Right.
that's governments decide what schools are going to focus on schools. Places like Boise and whatever government's in charge decides that. I have some very strong feelings about Oisey, which shouldn't be shared on the air.
Fair enough.
But yeah,
Tell our viewers what OISE is.
Ontario Institute for Studies in Education.
Okay.
It's in Toronto, University of Toronto. They turn out a lot of the educational theory. And to be frank, a lot of it is theory. And they have academic standing, so you know, they're experts, so they have to be listened to.
Right.
Which I think we might agree is a mistake, just by calling somebody an expert.
Well, I think there's no harm in listening, but
Yeah.
giving them, you know, just doing everything they say without,
Yeah.
without, you know,
Mm.
critical response is problematic.
So,
Have a sip of water.
sure.
There you go.
So to tell, to remove from the curriculum things about recycling is really interesting. I'd actually like to know his proof for that. Want me to pour more water?
Here. I don't know if he said it's been removed.
Well, I think you said it.
He said some counties have removed their recycling programs. And he's speaking from North America, so
Oh, okay.
there could be plenty of Swedes.
Yeah, I actually would still like to know
Yeah.
who that is. It would have to be in a very conservative area of the country,
To get
because I don't think,
rid of recycling programs.
I don't think you would
No,
be able to take
I
that out of
agree.
curriculum in any of the kind of normal school boards that I'm aware of. So, but who knows? Eventually, truth and fact hits you between the eyes.
Yeah.
And I guess I wouldn't be surprised to see recycling, if this guy's right, disappear and reduce and reuse. Like the pizza
Big
box,
one.
for example. Why should I go to a pizza store and not think that, hey, bring your container, I'll put the pizza in it. And so I have one pizza container,
Yeah.
it's plastic, that I can reuse probably for my entire life.
Or it comes on a metal tray.
Yeah,
Like if you get delivery, it comes on
a metal tray, and they slide
a
it to you.
metal tray or box or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they slide it to you. What I think.
Yeah, I don't think that's inappropriate at
I
all.
don't think so. No,
It's not a great sacrifice to do that. Yeah,
pizza places would love it because
yeah, yeah,
it's spending 50 cents on hundreds of thousands of boxes. You
Yeah.
buy
yeah.
40 metal things at $40 a piece.
Yeah. And just like a one-use box, when you see the size of those extra large pizza boxes and think they're putting it in there, I'm taking it home, we're eating it, it's going in the garbage. It was used like for 20 minutes.
Yeah,
And that's absurd.
you're right. It's absurd.
That gets to just a general principle to me that we all need to think about, and that is, and this is every country and every business in existence needs to seriously think about the implications of designing, building, using their product, and all of the things that it does to the environment around it. And I think it would be worthwhile to put some of our brain power towards that, instead of, this is the cheapest way to keep our investors invested in and giving them money. Let's cut down a bit of that and focus on, okay, our product actually does this to the surrounding area. Like when we make this, the smoke goes out here and it lands over there. That's creating a problem for somebody else, so
Yeah.
we can make money. We do need to really stop and think about those kind of things, instead of just saying, hey, I made money for my investor, I don't really care what it did
Yeah.
to or for anybody else. Like this is about the investor. And I mean, that's blind capitalism, rather than what we talked about last week, compassionate capitalism. which says, yes, we need to make money, but
Yeah.
we don't need to make it at this level, and we need to consider implications of everything we do, from the raw product to the sales to the refuse that comes from it.
Yeah.
End of sermon. I'll close in prayer.
Amen.
We're taught that the leading threat to the environment was pollution and garbage. Unlike today, where it's all climate change this, global warming that. Not to downplay the importance of climate change, of course, but it is such a big, complicated, global problem. I think it is very easy to get intimidated by and to be like, oh, well, I guess there's nothing we can do. But as the great big Canadian-Filipino garbage war of 2019 hopefully illustrates, this matter of what we are going to do with all of our garbage remains a pretty big environmental issue as well. I mean, even if we solve global warming, I don't think we want to live on a planet that's full of garbage either. But hopefully the garbage situation is also one that is a little bit easier to do something about. Reducing and reusing remain the most obvious ways to reduce your garbage output. But you also have to be serious about doing both in a way that is actually consequential. I saw a good video on Vice the other day talking about how if you just run out and buy a bunch of new tote bags or paper straws, it really does nothing, since these still require new materials and energy to make, meaning they still contribute to net waste, even if it maybe biodegrades a bit faster. What you should do is just commit to one tote bag or one metal straw or one water bottle and just use that as much as you can forever. And if you have to buy a product in some sort of single-use container, such as a refreshing beverage on a hot summer day, you should try to buy the more expensive ones in the more high-end packaging, since these days the Asians will only buy garbage of the highest quality. So this overpriced $4 glass bottle of kombucha would actually be the more environmentally responsible option than this adorable 99-cent plastic bottle of Coke. And you know another good way to help save the earth? Buy more non-physical goods, such as a subscription to today's video sponsor, Looney Politics. Looney Politics is
Okay, what's it got Trudeau's picture and Trump and Pence there for? Like, is
It's
that,
just into politics a lot.
okay. Well, Yeah.
He just does.
So I would guess he's not a fan of Trudeau.
We can talk about that after.
Okay.
Yeah, he's kind of on the fence with Trudeau. He is a bit of a conservative.
Yeah.
But
He's a bit of a conservative, but he certainly can't let go of the global warming. He had to keep that in there as something that's really important. So,
well, I think even most conservatives nowadays, especially in Canada,
yeah, you're right.
are understand that our climate is changing and that humans have a lot to do with it. But that's pretty much the end of what he talks about. It's just a ad and then a like and subscribe. But
Sure.
at the end there, he mentioned. Actually, let me play it again. Actually, that does it. That's good enough. At the end there, he talked about using water bottles or reusable this type things, and some of those things. Oh, and he also said, like, if you need a drink, get the $4 kombucha in the glass bottle as opposed to the small, flimsy plastic bottle that's 99 cents. The issue is, and those things are more expensive. Like, if you want a really good reusable bottle, if you want a reusable bottle, you can get one for $4 or $5 that might last 6 months, or you can get one for $30 that'll last you a couple years. Now, over the time span, it costs the same amount, but for people who don't have a lot of access to, fungible money, we see that can be an issue, right? And same with the person who's going to a convenience store to buy a cold drink on a hot day, they're not going to buy the $4 kombucha. They're going to buy the $1 cola. So I think he raises some good points, but I just want to, remind people that it's easier said than done. And I think, like you said, we need big companies. We need a little bit of government and and consumers all working towards goals where we can get, more reliable, reusable things, right? Because, I'd love to use a reusable water bottle for certain things, but, I'm not going to spend $35 on it.
Yeah. So, yeah, just it popped in my mind. I hear about all these acres and acres and square miles of plastic bottles floating in the ocean.
Yeah.
Is that true?
I think it might be. I think there's something the size of. You want to look it up quickly?
Well, that goes along with, does New York still send barges out into the Atlantic to dump their garbage in the Atlantic? If they're not now, I'm pretty sure they were.
Yeah.
That's an abomination to do that.
Garbage Island Ocean.
Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Where the heck is that?
Well, let's share it with other people. So give me a second there.
So are these all the bottles that didn't have their cap taken off?
I don't know.
That
Earth, the globe, Terra. Our world. No matter what you call planet Earth, it is our home. In the small span of time the Homo sapien has existed, we have made profound impacts on the condition of our planet. From the depths of the jungle to the heights of the mountaintops, the human footprint is encountered across the expanse of the globe. One of the most prolific impacts humanity has had on our world lies in our oceans.
oh wow.
Human waste, specifically plastics, have built up in our oceans, posing an imminent threat not only to nature, but to humans as well. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch illustrates the effects that we as humans have had on the marine environment. Located in the northern Pacific Ocean and the largest of 5 garbage patches, the Great Pacific Garbage
That's
Patch is
5.
the product of tons of debris which have made their way into the ocean from lakes, rivers, and streams. The garbage caught in this patch is unable to escape, caught in a vortex created by ocean currents.
Ocean current.
Patch, more than 3 times the size of
Circulates
Texas,
around. Like it looks like
Okay, I said it might have been the size of Texas,
it's way bigger.
and I think you just missed it.
Oh, sorry.
caught in a vortex created by ocean currents. The patch, more than 3 times the size of Texas, spans from the coast of Japan all the way to Hawaii and even to California. Furthermore, the total amount of garbage in the patch is impossible to calculate because of the thick layers of built-up waste. A lot of the garbage in the water is made up of type N plastics, consisting of abandoned fishing nets and plastic rope. Type H hard plastics and type F foam plastics also comprise large portions of the patch. Since more than 180 times more plastic than food is found at the surface of the garbage patch, unsuspecting sea life, such as sea turtles, can have up to 74% of their diets composed of this ocean plastic. Although it may appear that the effects of the garbage patch end with marine life, it has become evident that these patches lead to detrimental effects for human life as well. While plastic does not organically degrade, it does still break down into what experts have termed microplastics. These tiny fragments of plastic enter our food supply through seafood and sea salt. Once in our digestive systems, they disrupt the human endocrine system and throw our hormones out of balance. The effects of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch are extensive. However, humans can help orchestrate a change. First, we must acknowledge that our actions do have an impact on the environment, whether we think they do or not. As an individual, a family member, and a community, you possess the power to effect a change. Organizations such as 4Ocean and the Ocean Cleanup fund and conduct research towards this cause. By donating and volunteering, you can help make a difference. However, supporting such organizations is not the only way to help. You can make an impact as an individual through recycling plastic
There we go. The first two especially, right?
bottles and containers, reducing the amount of plastic you use, and reusing your current plastic products. Spread awareness on the effect of waste and microplastics in our oceans by being an advocate for our oceans, our sea life, and our species. Change starts with you. We created this problem, so together we can solve it to create a future for our world, planet, and home.
Oh, that was a boat that picked stuff up.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's just yeah, environment has big problems for sure. But I have no doubt in my mind that if enough people got together and really tried, we could fix it. We just have to choose to. We just have to choose to.
We are the only answer.
Yeah.
I mean, we created it. If we don't solve it,
Yeah.
it doesn't get solved. Like
No.
that's a pretty simple.
And it could hurt us.
Yeah, and it could hurt us. I would I would like to see it like a drone shot over one of those, see how far they go. And I suspect they're not all right on the surface either, but it could be.
Yeah, they said I know your hearing's not the best, but
Yeah.
in that video it said they have no idea how much there's in it because we don't know how thick it is. He's like at certain.
Right.
Yeah, I want to see if I can find
Okay, just gotta turn up my hearing aids. Sorry.
a picture of ocean garbage patch. Yeah. So it doesn't float kind of like an island, but it floats almost like a garbage river.
Yeah.
Along the currents in the ocean. I mean,
Keep going. Oh my goodness.
there's a couple that show like as far as the eye can see, like all you see is garbage.
Yeah.
And it's kind of heartbreaking.
There's a plane. Would it be going over it? That doesn't show it, but
Yeah, but this is a small piece.
that's a small, it's the, yeah,
It's hard to get an idea because
like I don't throw my anything plastic in the ocean.
no,
I'm too far away. So who's doing this? Like who's taking whatever I have and maybe throwing?
who's doing it for you, right?
Who's doing it for me?
On your behalf, so to speak.
Yeah,
And would they please stop?
yes, right.
You know, I don't particularly like using the reusable plastic straws
Yeah, but
that I have, but I use them because I got about a dozen. They last me, a year or two before they. So I'll take another sip. I'll take a sip.
plastic straw.
Yeah, I'll take a sip. And
sure.
yeah, me too.
Sure. I thought you were working on your joystick there. And he's drinking Googling. Oh no, sparkling water today.
So I prefer a plastic straw, just a disposable one. I never get jabbed with a plastic straw. They're easier to manipulate. They're guaranteed always to be clean. But, you know, it's not that much of a hassle to buy a dozen of these straws every 2 years for about $10.
Yeah.
And they just keep using them.
Well, and you have some specific needs.
I do. I need a straw.
Yeah.
To drink. And I think I don't think we need to serve straws in restaurants. Like, why do we even need straws?
I never use a straw at home in any.
And then all of a sudden, when you go to a drive-through, you need a straw. Like they're starting to put I've seen some places like Starbucks. They're putting like lids that are similar to their coffee lids on it so that you can drink the cold drink.
Yeah.
Through the lid. So you still have the lid, which adds to the integrity of the cup, prevents from spilling, but then
Yeah.
you can still take a sip, right?
Mhm.
I mean, Starbucks cups, again, it's single use plastic, but at least it's eliminating one of the plastics.
I noticed I had to ask at McDonald's for a straw when I bought my grandchildren a Happy Meal,
Okay.
which by the way has an unbelievable amount of one-time use plastic, cardboard, paper. It's I yeah, I I should probably show up and say, hey, put those fries here, put those chicken nuggets there, and
Yeah.
give me a glass without a straw or a cup without a straw.
Well, you know, most people,
Yeah, put the apple juice in here.
you know what most people do?
What?
They get their extra quarter pounder, whatever, and they open up the box.
Yeah.
And then they dump the fries from the fry box into the top of the quarter pounder box.
That's right.
Well, just start with that.
It's not transportable at that point. So,
I guess.
but that's yeah. I mean, we have a lot of just everyday given habits
Uh-huh.
that could be checked
and so easy, but
But we
that's why
are,
I think consumers have to be part of the solution too, because
oh, absolutely.
I think the first time Pizza shows up at your house with a like polyurethane container and they say, here's your pizza, and they slide it out for you or whatever, you're gonna be like, is that clean? Is this that?
Yeah.
You know?
I think we have an addiction to ease and simplicity.
Yep.
Without considering the implications for everything.
Yep.
You know, it,
Well, why are we ordering pizza? Why are we getting fast food? Because it's simple and easy, right?
right, and we don't want it to come in anything that isn't simple and easy. I
Exactly.
mean, yeah, we have created a society that really is based on simplicity and ease because our lives are so busy.
Uh-huh.
We think we're reducing complications, and we are right on the spot, but
Yeah.
we're not
In
in
the
the
long
bigger
run.
picture. And that's the problem. And I mean, here I am talking, well, I'm as guilty as everybody else. So, yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
All right, Murray. We
All right.
both realized we're not saving the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe we're part of the problem, but hopefully we can become
Yeah.
part of the solution.
Yeah. I think my generation did a lot of really great stuff and a lot of really crappy stuff. And I hope the generations coming behind can take the good stuff and clean up the crappy stuff.
Yeah.
And I hope they can do that for a generation that follows them. And over time, we might have success. That would be my hope.
I hope you're right. All right. See everyone next week.